right. Hey, Gary, how you doing?
Hey, good, Seb. How you doing today?
I'm pretty good. It's a rainy day. Love the rainy days in California. Don't have that many of them really.
Yeah, that's true. All of a sudden, it started raining out of nowhere, and I look and I noticed it's going to be raining for the rest of the week. So, which is good. We need some rain, man.
We need the rain. We need the rain. And just like rain, just like everyone needs rain, we're going to talk about something which a lot of people say that every realtor needs, and that would be coaching. A lot of people say that every realtor needs a coach. And do you agree with that statement, Gary, that every realtor needs a coach?
Yeah, I agree. More than 100%. Yeah, everybody needs a coach, not just realtors. Especially realtors need coaching. Yeah.
Right. Well, yeah, sure. Mortgage people need coaches, life insurance people,
Mm-hmm.
even my dentist had a coach even.
Gotta have a coach. Yeah.
Okay, got to have a coach. But Gary, why? Why do we need coaches?
Yeah, coaches actually help you develop your game plan, right? As a realtor, whether you're a new realtor or you experienced, right? You absolutely need to stay focused, disciplined. So coaches will help you with all that. They help you design your marketing plan, your budget, and all that stuff. So I think it's a different levels of coaching. So it depends on what level you at, right?
Yeah, well, like, pro athletes, for example, like they won't just have one coach, right? I mean, like Steph Curry, right? He probably has like five coaches, really, 10 coaches. He probably has like a financial coach, right? About what he do with his money. He probably has like a coach that tells him about, shooting, a coach that helps him with just like overall fitness activity, fitness level, right? I mean, a lot of people would have more than one coach, depending on what they want to be focusing on improving at the time.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I mean, in real estate, you have different types of coaching, I guess. You can have a technology coach, or social media coach, or actual daily, planning coach. I mean, there's many different types of coaching that you can use.
Right. But I think like when I think of the question like why do I need a coach? I think that the best answer for that would be is because everybody, I don't care if you are Steph Curry or you're a first year realtor or like a 20-year realtor, like wherever you are in whatever endeavor that you're working on, you could always do better, right? You could always do better, and without having somebody who can evaluate you and see where you're at, and who can give you the guidance to get to where you're going, you're not going to get there as fast and maybe not even reach the same level. In fact, probably not even reach the same level as you have the potential to. And so I think that people need a coach because it helps them reach their best potential much sooner. And I would even say that, you as a realtor, you owe it to yourself and to your family to really reach your potential as soon as you can, right? Because, you have financial needs, right? I mean, you have to pay the rent. You have to, put gas in your car. You have to pay your MLS fees and your board dues, right? I mean, there's a lot of stuff that you have to pay for, your kids' braces and, all that stuff. And, you have a responsibility, you owe it to yourself and to your family to really make the most you can out of your real estate career. And, for a lot of people, that really will mean getting a coach.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So, on average, realtors that do have a coach, they make way more money, right? So you want to find the right coach, obviously, right? Depending on where you at on your business, right?
Yeah, that's very interesting that you mentioned that. So a lot of coaches out there will say, "Oh, our coaches make, eight times what the average." I mean, our students in our coaching program, they make eight times the average, what the average realtor makes. And actually, that's like a benchmark that a lot of different like coaching organizations use against other coaching organizations. They'll say like, "Well, my students, make the best, will make the most amount of money per, per student than any other, coaching students in the industry.
Yeah, well, I mean, I mean, anybody can say that, but you do want to get some, references, you want to talk to the people that are coaching, see how they think, what they think, So
Yeah,
that
totally. Because there's so much, I mean, frankly, there's just so much BS, right? There's so much bullshit in every industry, right? I mean, like a lot of people just, make up statistics. Actually, I think like 93% of people make up statistics. And actually, I just made that statistic up as well. I don't know
Yeah,
what
yeah,
it
no,
is, right? But
I totally agree. Yeah, you want to get some references, you want to talk to those people that actually are being coached, see what their experience been like, right? I
totally,
mean,
totally. Yeah,
anybody can say anything, right?
well, it's like getting referral to a realtor or whatever, right? I mean, like, you want to talk to somebody who's had like a good experience with a realtor usually before you hire that realtor, right? That's why so many realtors get so much of their business from referrals. And the same thing I think could be said of when you're looking for a coach, right? Find a coach that has been referred to you by somebody who's had a good experience with that coach or with that coaching program.
Yeah, I mean, that's it. Real estate is depends on referrals, So, I mean, coaching, same thing. You want to get a referral, yeah, that's the best thing. Ask other fellow realtors, who they're using, what kind of results they're getting. So
Right.
that you can talk to the coach, and also it depends on what level you at. I don't think there's one coach that fits all, right?
Right. Well, actually, that's a good question, Gary. So, like, what can actually a coach help you with, like specifically, like what exactly? I mean, like, it's one thing to say, oh, a coach is going to help me make more money or close more sales, right? But that's like just too generalized. Like, what specifically can a coach help you with in order to get more sales, to make more money?
Yeah, so the coaches can also, help you with self-understanding, discipline, because when you're first starting out, you really don't know what to do. So coaches can help you put together a plan, right? We all wish that we had a coach when we first started, right?
I know I
Um,
sure do.
yeah,
I
you
definitely
know,
wish.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. The coaches can help you with, self-understanding, quality of life improvement, personal and professional development, clarity and focus, goal setting and achievements, informed decision making. So all the above, right? So absolutely, you got to have a good coach too. So
Right. Well, I think that specifically, I mean, and I hate to, be kind of, this maybe almost trite about it, really, but I think that what a coach can help you do is first they'll analyze, where you are at in your business, and then they'll find out, like where you maybe want to take your business. And then the very important thing that a coach does, I think, is they tell you what to do because a lot of people they just have no clue where even to begin because everyone's situation is different, right? Like you might need something more or different out of your business than like 99 out of 100 other people, right? I mean, that's one thing that's really great about the real estate business is that there's all kinds of ways to be successful in it, right? The way that, Joe Schmo down the street became a really successful realtor may be the complete opposite of the way that you want to and can become a really successful realtor, but you don't really have any really great ideas about how to specifically do it step by step, day by day. And I think that's what really a coach can do for you is they tell you what to do. Like, I mean, I'm not an athlete. I've never really been in sports, but my kid is my 14-year-old, almost 15-year-old kid. He's been doing baseball. He has baseball coaches, and you know what they tell him to do? I don't know what they tell him to do, Gary, because I'm not really there during practice, like overhearing their conversation. But he tells me all the time, like, "Oh, my coach told me to do this. My coach told me to do that." Right? I got a lot of help from my coach with this technique, this part of my swing, right? And so it's getting that kind of actionable, granular advice in your business for what you need to get done in order for you to be successful on your own terms. That I think is what the right coach can really help you with.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Like I said, there's no one coach, fits all. You gotta look around to see who fits your needs, right? I mean, if
Right.
you're just starting out, you may need something different. But if you're building your team or you need help with more with lead gen or whatever, then you want to look for someone different, right?
Right.
So,
And speaking of that, now, this today, just this very day, this morning, I got an email from my website provider. My website, my main website is done by Agent Fire, agentfire.com. Little shout out to the good people of Agent Fire. And they sent me an email and they were like, here are 60 coaches, the top 60 coaches in America or something like that, right? And I was like, oh, that's interesting, right? Because I'm really interested in coaching. And so I read through it all and I was familiar with almost every one of them. I would say of the 60, I probably knew 50 of them, right? But what's interesting as I was going through the list is that they all had like different kinds of coaching that they offered, right? So I think the most famous classical coaching is what they call like one-on-one coaching, right? Where you call up your coach maybe once a week or twice a week or maybe twice a month. It really depends on, what your program is, but you'll call that person up and you'll have a direct phone call with them for like a half hour or an hour on a set schedule. And that's called one-to-one coaching. And that's always been sort of like the classical kind of coaching that's been going on for probably 40, 50 years now at this point, right? Mike Ferry and Floyd Wickman, right? They were like the original, big trainers, and that's what they started with back then. But as I was reading through this email today and looking at all these different coaches, there is a variety of kinds of coaching out there these days. So, what other kinds of coaching are you familiar with, Gary?
yeah, so obviously you got the old, OGs, and then you got some new coaches, that they're blending in more technology, more lead gen, because some of the old-fashioned techniques, may not work anymore. So you had got to add something new, right? As far as, maybe social media coaching, right? Or just putting together your technology, right? Developing your websites, or I believe that there's coaching for that, right?
Oh yeah. Well, I think there's coaching for everything nowadays. But like for example, there's like group coaching, right? So like it used to be like one-to-one coaching was the thing, but now they have like group coaching where you're in like a group and it might be that there's, 8 people in your group or 20 people or it could be hundreds of people in your group. And what do? You get on a free conference call HD or maybe like a Zoom meeting like this. And the coach will have like like a topic for discussion and the coach will like, give his input and then, people will ask different questions and a lot of times that's very valuable because the other people will ask questions that you hadn't really thought of and it makes like a little light go on over your head. You're like, oh wow, like it's an insight that you wouldn't have thought to have because that person was maybe in a different place that you were, but they're in a different place where you're going to be very soon, right? So we have one-to-one coaching and we have group coaching. And then what other kinds of coaching formats are there? Is there anything besides one-to-one and group coaching?
Well, then you have the mastermind, right?
Oh, what's that?
So a mastermind is where the group of people that are high producers, So some coaches only coach those top producers, right? So so you only mastermind with people that are producing certain levels, right? So they call them mastermind coaching. So you have a different level of coaching with those people. So I'm not sure if there's any other levels of coaching.
Well, yeah, I've heard of that. I've heard of like these mastermind retreats, really, So like these coaches will say like, come to my mastermind retreat, and it's going to be like you can get one of my 20 spots or whatever, and then you'll fly to like Scottsdale, Arizona, or like, Palm Beach, Florida, or somewhere, and you'll sit in like a hotel, conference room or whatever, and you'll mastermind with other people for like, a weekend or whatever. And I've never actually been to a mastermind myself, but I have been to like some other like like not where you go somewhere, but like online, right? Like communities where they'll have like monthly meetings, really. So it'll be like a monthly mastermind, and they'll mastermind on like a specific topic, right? They'll talk about like, okay, today we're going to mastermind on short form videos, right? And they might spend a couple hours or even a half a day, right, talking about all the ins and outs of short form video content, which is all the rage these days.
Yeah, no, that's true. They could be mastermind about anything, how to run your Facebook ad, the Google ads,
Right. Yeah.
or how, or the mailers, or what's working, So you pretty much sharing with other top producers what's working, right?
Right. Yeah, exactly. But you
And
mentioned a thing there about top producers, so like I'm just gonna ask you kind of as an aside, Gary, what the hell is a top producer? When people say top, I'm a top producer, what does that even mean?
yeah. Well, top producer, is to me simply who is producing obviously in the top 10%, I think.
Top 10%.
Yeah, yeah. You
So
can
top
call,
10%.
yeah,
Okay.
top 10%. Yeah. So, I mean, on average, realtors close about, what's an average, 6 deals a year on average,
Right.
realtor.
Right.
So obviously, someone who's closing a lot more than that, in the top 10, you can imagine,
Right.
so those
Right.
would be,
A few years back, I used to go to the board meetings for my, MLSlistings.com, which is like the Bay Area, right? The five, well, not, there's more than five counties in the Bay Area, but five of the counties in the Bay Area control MLSlistings.com. And it was in like October or something like that, right? And they said, well, we just looked at the first 3 quarters of the year, right? We just looked at we this is the board meeting, right? This is the board of MLS listings, right? They're like, we just did an analysis after 9 months in the year, right? Over 50% of our members have closed either zero or one listing. It was like 57% of the members after 9 months in the year had closed either zero or one sale.
so that was last year.
No, that was in 20, that was a long time ago. That was like in 2019. Yeah, it was 2019 when they had that. But I think that's been true for like a long time, right? I mean, the more realtors there are and the fewer house sales, like there's just going to be fewer realtors, fewer sales per realtor, really.
Yeah.
So, because
But
I've always wondered like what the hell is a top producer? Because you have a lot of realtors go around and they say, I'm a top producer, right? I'm a top producer. Like, what does that actually mean, top producer? I mean, like, let me show you this, Gary, is that a couple of years ago I got an award for Real Trends, right? Top 1.5% of realtors in the United States, right? That was me like 2 years ago, right? Top 1.5%, right? And so when I got that goal, I said, you know what, my new goal is top 1%. I want to be in the top 1% of realtors. I'm not in the top 1% of realtors, but that's my goal. I want to get to be in the top 1%. I've always thought before, like top producer meant that you were in the top 1%. So when you tell me it's top 10%, there's so much difference between the top 1% and the top 10%. Like the top
yeah, yeah,
1% don't sell 10 times as much realtor as the top 10% or the person in the 10th percentile. They sell like 100 times, right? I mean, like it's a big
yeah,
big difference, you know, to get there. But even if you are in the top 10%, you know, like so here where I am, you know, in the Bay Area, right? You're not far away, right? But you know, so you know, if you're in the top 10%, that probably means you're probably closing, actually, like you said, probably like six transactions a year would probably put you in the top 10%, even in my market. So by that mark, it's not that hard to become a top producer. But even so, I mean, like in the Bay Area, if you're selling six homes, you know, your paycheck could be, you know, 30 or 40 grand a piece, right? You know, so if
Yeah,
you're selling
yeah,
six, you know,
yeah, I
you
guess.
might be pulling in a couple hundred grand a year, right? Which might sound like a lot to some people, really, but in the Bay Area, that's not an especially high income.
No, no, it's not. I mean, it depends where you're at in the country. Your paycheck might be 6 grand, you know,
Right,
rather than 30. So obviously, you got to adjust for that.
right.
But yeah, I mean, like you mentioned, those people that didn't close anything, those could use coaching, right?
Those could use coaching. And you know, here's the thing is that you know, most people, most realtors, like they think the average realtor makes like the, you know, the National Association of Realtors, you know, profile of home buyers and sellers, but they also include information in that report about like how much the actual realtor makes. I believe it's that report. But the average realtor in the United States, the average it's like 57 grand a year, right? Something like that. That's the average. You know, divide the total commissions earned by all the number of realtors, it works out to like $57,000 a year. So if you're making $57,000 a year and there's a coaching program and they want to charge you $1,000 a month, which is not uncommon, or even $500 a month, which isn't uncommon, you know, that's a lot of your paycheck, you know, especially considering that you have other expenses, right? Out of that 57,000, you have, you know, your board fees, your E&O insurance, you know, your MLS dues, right? You got to put gas in the tank, you know, your technology fees, you know, blah, blah, blah. That's a lot of money, you know, and so uh, I just wondered, like, how do people, you know, begin to pay a 500 or $1,000 a month? So, what's been your experience in terms of a monthly cost? Is it really 500 or $1,000 a month, or more or less, or how much does coaching cost, Gary?
Well, coaching has different levels. You can have a coach that could be $100 a month, group coaching. You can start off with group coaching. You know, if you can't hire a personal coach, right? Just like, your trainer, I mean, you can get a group training, right? So that could be $100 or it could be $50 a month, right? Or
Yeah, I used to go to this group training physical fitness coach, right? So it was
yeah,
like there was like, you know, I mean, I'm not sure how many people were signed up, you know, but I would say that you know, the average class had like 8 or 10 people in it. I'm not sure how many people were paying, but that was like, you know, like $200 a month or something like that. And it was like, I think 3 days a week, you could go in there at like, you know, 6 o'clock in the morning, you know, but you got really, really, really good coaching. You know, there was like a really, really good, you know, physical fitness expert in there, you know, who had a lot of experience. And because there weren't that many people in the group, they really could give you attention, you know, and say like, oh, look at your form, you know, keep your back straight, you know, blah, 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 you know, do this, don't bend or, you know, whatever. So that, you know, I wasn't paying like $1,000 a month that I might have been paying to have that one-on-one instruction with that person, but I
yep.
really felt like I got like a tremendous amount of like really good coaching, even though it was in a group setting and it just cost a fraction of what I would have paid to have that one-on-one coaching.
Yeah, I mean, that depends on the individual too, how do you accept, coaching, like do you really want to learn, right? And you can learn, just like, schools and colleges, you don't have to go to a top school. You can go to, some other school, probably get the same education if you really want to learn, right?
Yeah,
You
that's
know?
totally true. I think that you can get the exact same education, really. You know, I think that the reason to go to like a top school is not necessarily because they're going to teach you that much more, but it's just a question of who are the students that you're going to you know, be associating with, right? Who will become your network as you go about in your career, you know, later on down the road, right?
That definitely helps, so obviously you can start off with the maybe $50, $100 a month coaching, and then you can move up, right? Where you can join those masterminds, right? Where they obviously going to charge you 1,000 up to 10,000 a month, right?
Right.
I heard some mastermind charge you 25 grand a month.
Right. Yeah. Well,
So I
like Tony
mean,
Robbins, right? If you go to
yeah,
Tony Robbins, you can go to the Tony Robbins level and you're paying 25 grand a month, to meet with Tony Robbins. But another thing about the group coaching really is that it's a great way to like meet other realtors from around the country, right? And you can actually, network with those realtors, right? And maybe get some incoming referral business, or you can send referrals their way. So like group coaching is also a wonderful way to begin to build your networks across the country.
no, that's great. Yeah, those referrals are good. Yeah, and you can always get referrals from other realtor. I mean, those are the best,
Oh,
So
totally. I just went to, so in November, I guess it was, I went down to I'm with Compass, and they had the Compass Retreat, right, in San Diego. Great, wonderful event. And but a lot of the discussion was about how much of the business of Compass agents is from referral. And you know what they told me? They said, or they told everybody, 16%. 16% of all Compass transactions are from referrals, right? Well, that's a lot of business, really. And some people, it was like 40, 50, and even 60% of their business was just from referrals from other agents, right? That's huge, right? I mean,
that's
imagine if you were
huge.
getting
Yeah.
like 3, 4, 5 referrals a year that closed, right? I mean, like that alone could make a really big impact in your quality of life. And you could begin to build those referrals by being like in a group coaching program with agents from across the country and really forming those kind of like good relationships, where you actually know people on a first name basis, face to face, you have experience with them. And that's one of the things you can get from group coaching a lot of times.
Yeah, networking, man. That's what it's all about, right? Whether you're networking with your other fellow coaching members, or you hustling out there networking, right?
Right.
That's
Yeah.
that's how you
So,
get more business.
Gary, how do I find, or how does anybody find a good coach, right? Like, how do you find a good coach for you where you're at right now in your career?
Yeah, well, I think I would start to ask around other realtors. Obviously, you can search on YouTube, Facebook, all that stuff, LinkedIn. But really, you want to start asking around people in your office, or find some people who are selling a lot of homes, see who their coach is, right? So I will start from there, and then you use your own judgment, what level you at. If you can't afford a certain amount, you got to go to a different coach, right?
Totally, totally. Actually, I think that is exactly right. You can go ask people, but I wouldn't go onto like some Facebook group or whatever and ask like, hey, is there a good coach here? Because what you're going to find is you're going to get bombarded with coaches who are saying, hire me, hire me, hire me. There's just going to be too much noise. I think you mentioned something really good there, which is like, going to YouTube, right? I mean, there are actually a lot of like pretty good coaches on YouTube right now. I subscribe to a bunch of them. And in that email that I talked about today, from my website company, right? A lot of those coaches did have, a YouTube channel. So there's a tremendous amount of valuable coaching for free, which I mean, I'm really impressed by what you can get for free. So YouTube is in fact a really good place. But then you said it right there, Gary. You said it, talk to people that you know who sell a lot of houses. And you would be surprised, I think. I am surprised at how many of these people who are really top producers, they have coaches. Because like, years ago in the industry, I would have thought that, coaching is really only for people who are struggling and failing and who need help. But that's not only for them, although maybe it can help them a lot, but it's also for people who are really, really big high producers. And a lot of times those really, really big high producers got that way because they had a good coach. So, if you ask one of these big producers, hey, tell me your coach, it could be that coach is not the right coach for you, right? Because of where that person is in their career. But they might give you like a clue, like, oh, but before I was on this coach, I started with this organization, or I studied from this guy, or like, this lady over here, Lorna, she told me like a bunch of really great stuff and she was perfect for when I started coaching.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And also, you know, your personality type, right? You might not want to do certain things, right? Some
Yeah.
people, some coaches, they coach you how to go door knock, right? What if you don't want to door knock? That coach is not for you, right?
Right, right. Yeah, it's funny because in Compass, there's there's a few like blessed coaches in Compass, right? Who Compass really highly favors and they talk about all the time. And there's one coach in particular, and he's kind of famous for like shouting at people, right? Like he shouts at people, like is very like a dom like the disc profile. He's a high D, right? High dominance, right? So when I was at the Compass retreat, I heard quite a few people saying like, "Oh, I tried that guy, but I didn't like getting yelled at," right? So like, the coach's style may not be the style of coaching that's going to work for you. So yeah, you really want to find someone who's going to be a fit with where you are, where your style, and what you need out of coaching.
No, absolutely. Like I say, some coaches, they just coach the same thing, you know, they don't really care, you know, what level you at, you know, whether you starting out or you up here, they have the same coaching for everybody, right? So
Right,
I
right,
don't think that's right, you know.
right,
There's got to be some kind of custom coaching, right? So if you
right.
just got your license, you know, you don't know what to do, you know, and the coach is telling you something else, they just they just you know don't understand you. So you got to find the coach that have same page that you are, right?
Totally. Yeah, you want to
Um,
get a coach who can meet you where you are, and will be ready to like, to take you to where you want to go. Hey,
yeah,
well, Gary, you know what? That's all we have time here for today, but I really appreciate your perspective, man. That was great.
yeah, no, great. Same here. I appreciate you having me here today again. And we'll look forward to do it again.
Terrific. All right, Gary, we'll catch you later.
All right.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.